Hello and welcome to Lisa Horton Crafts. My name is Mary Kelly and this is part 2 of wreath making using Lisa Horton Craft products. This is the second wreath we're going to make. This one uses garden twine and it also uses the large Poinsettia die by Lisa Horton. This is what we need to do. Decide which side you're going to have as your back. I put a little bit of red liner tape here so that my cord has something to grip with. This is what I call garden store cord, so it's much thicker and more coarse than the cord you would generally buy to do crafting with. So I've attached my cord to the red liner tape and then I'm just going to wrap around my wreath, keeping the cord very close together and keeping the tension quite high, and I'm going to wrap the whole way around. If you feel you want it to be very secure, you could put little bits of red liner tape the whole way around and then you can rest assured that your cord will remain in place. That might be a strategy worth using for a larger wreath. I find this wreath is quite small, and as long as I keep the cord tight together, then there's no slippage or movement. So you need to continue that the whole way around the edge of your wreath to get back to where you started. And you just have a little bit of cord left. I would suggest that you either use another bit of double-sided tape, or I'm just going to use a tiny little bit of hot glue here to make sure that the cord is attached very well at the end. Mind your fingers there because that hot glue will obviously be hot, and wrap around the cord at the very end. Doesn't matter if it's a little bit thicker than other places because the whole look is quite rustic, and hopefully that'll be nice and secure and you can cut off any excess that you have then. There we go. So we're ready to start assembling our wreath, and you can see here we have our wreath, our poinsettia, a little bit of ribbon, some leaves and foliage, which I've just cut from green paper. You could cut it from green felt if you wanted to do that. And I'm going to use a little bit of hot glue to attach my poinsettia, and I'm actually covering up the joint that I've created by wrapping the wreath round. So firmly apply that. And then we're ready to add some little bits of greenery, and you'll find the hot glue will allow you just to add bits of the greenery in and secure it, and you'll add all the greenery you want to get the look that you prefer. There's all my foliage and I'm ready to finish off. So I need to have something to hang my wreath up with, and again it'll depend on where you want to hang yours. I've just cut a length of the green cord, though you could use ribbon if you preferred, and I have wrapped that around the top of my wreath and secured it, and it works well because it's the same colour. And then I obviously have a little hanger, and then just to finish off I like a little bow here, and again I'm using some cross grain ribbon here. You could use something more festive if you wished, and I'm just going to attach my bow to the top of my wreath. So there we have wreath number 2. The felt I'll show you today is using some of the beautiful washi tape that Lisa has produced. This is the Christmas Romance one, but you could use any of the washi tapes that Lisa has provided us with. These also have amazing sentiments which you can incorporate. So I'm just going to show you how to cover your wreath. It's actually a very similar technique to the snowflake wreath we've done today. So let me just bring in a wreath that I've already made a start on here. So you can see that I've partly covered this wreath already. And all that I've done here is I've taken pieces of the washi tape and I've deliberately torn them. I want it to be irregular to give me this very rustic and interesting finish. And you can see there I have a few bits that I've cut off and torn off already, and I've started to layer them up. So you char up your washi tape and you apply it to your wreath. So it's very straightforward. Make sure it covers the whole of the side you're interested in. And you can use your piece of washi tape a number of times, like so. And you can see that again it overhangs, and that obviously isn't something we want. So your trusty nail file will come out again, and making sure that your washi tape is very secure, you will again use your nail file to trim off the excess. You can see it peels off really, really easily, and you get a lovely finish. Just do the outside of that little bit as well. And you can do that the whole way around your wreath. Once I've covered the wreath then, I generally use my sentiments and I pull off words and things that I like. For example, warm and cozy in that beautiful grey tone. And just tear that off. Again, I want it to look quite irregular. And peel off the backing and attach it wherever I want on my wreath to create interest. There we go. So I can choose to apply these words wherever I think they'd look the best. So maybe let's just put it down here. And just rub that over with my finger. It all blends in really, really nicely. So I need to do that to the rest of my wreath. Now, just like with the snowflake wreath, you can end up with a little bit of a rub along the edge. You might just be able to see it there. You've rubbed, and because the end is quite brown, the process of cutting it, you may find that you've quite a light bit of brown there. I personally like to cover up. So I'm using a little bit of Distress ink, and I'm just literally going to ink around the edge of my wreath. And I'll do that the whole way around the outside and the whole way around the inside as well. So my wreath has been completely covered in the washi. I've added in lots of the sentiments for interest, and I've attached a piece of red liner tape to the back of my wreath and attached my hanging mechanism, which is just a piece of ribbon in this case. Now in the MDF kits there are 4 little bells of varying sizes. I have chosen to use 3 of them, and just as with the wreath itself, I've actually covered those in washi tape and added the wording that I like. I'll cover them on both sides because this will probably rotate and move when it's hung up. And then used a piece of cord, and I have strung the first 2 on here to get us started. So I have the cord on the smallest bell, and on the back of it I have secured the cord with some red liner tape, and I then covered the red liner tape with some washi tape so I get a nicer finish. I'm just going to trim off that little piece of cord, and I'm going to repeat the process here with the next bell. So I'm going to add some red liner tape here, and I'm going to cover it with washi, and also the third bell. We'll attach it, just thread the cord through, lay it down, have the cord in the back, make sure you're happy with the distance between your bells, and using red liner tape, attach the cord and cover the red liner tape with some washi tape. Now I have my 3 bells covered. They're covered in both the front and the back, and I've attached, as I explained, the cord. You could use some invisible thread here as well, or indeed a ribbon if you really wanted to. So it's ready, and I'm now going to put it into the centre of my wreath. So making sure that they're all with their backs facing upwards, I'm going to use again red liner tape to attach that to the back of my wreath. You might want to add a couple of bits there. You could also you just tie it on if you wanted to. It's all hidden quite nicely by the ribbon at the back. And then I will have my hanging bells within the centre of my wreath, which creates a lot of interest. It hangs freely there. Now the only other thing I might do would be to add some of the beautiful epoxy domes, and I would add 1 to each of the little bell-like portions of the shape here to give me my final look. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. If you have, please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you're able to keep up to date with any new videos coming from Lisa Horton's Crafts team. Thank you.